glasses, Sergeant?
Not for observation purposes, madam.
Answer the question, please. Do you ever, repeat ever, wear glasses?
For reading, yes.
Yet you still say there's nothing wrong with... What?
You still maintain there's nothing wrong with your sight.
Say, maintain. What the hell does it matter?
Well, maintain's more legalistic. It's the sort of word barristers would use.
You mean the sort of word Brian thinks they use?
Well, you should know he's been in court often enough.
With not a barrister in sight? Just a couple of tatty solicitors picking through the sordid remnants of our lives.
Sordid? Not your remnant, surely.
Divorces are always sordid, darling. The division of the spoils is a degrading process, no matter what the result. Now, where was I?
You still maintain there's nothing wrong with your
Yet you
sight.
still maintain there's nothing wrong with your sight.
I can see just as clear as you can, madam, when the defendant ran down... What?
Miss Marcia Bancroft by hand.
Now, what intrigues me is how many of the great unwashed managed to find out where you live. Remember that fetishist who wanted to know what you wore under your wig and gown?
He spelt my name wrong, didn't he? At least whoever sent me this bothered to look it up in the Oh! In here. Hi.
Oh, Mum, I've brought someone home.
No, the invisible man. Ask him to put his bandages on. I know who he is.
Oh, come on. She won't eat you. She had red meat for dinner.
Hello, Mrs. Forbes.
You must be Lois.
Right.
An only child about to add 3 A levels to her 6 O levels, can run the 100 metres in under 13 seconds and is an ace at disco dancing.
Steve told me you were good, but not that good.
No, as much as I'd like to impress you with my Sherlock Holmes bit, I've been well briefed. Come on, sit down.
So you know I want to talk to you?
You're thinking of joining the police force?
Yeah, only thinking about it.
Steve, why don't you go and make us some of your dreadful tea?
Oh, fine. You should taste the stuff they have to drink down at the Nick. If you do decide to join, bring your own flask.
So, how can I help?
Could you talk to my father?
He's against the idea?
He's not crazy about it.
Well, I can't say I blame him. He could be hit by some of the flak.
It's not that.
What then?
He doesn't think the job's good enough.
There they are again.
Subjects reappeared together 8:34. Embraced amorously.
She can't have been much of a copper.
Why?
We've been here every morning this week, and she still hasn't sussed us.
She has other things on her mind.
Yeah, like if I was shacked up with Recco Welch, I'd be too busy to clock someone keeping obbo on us outside.
We'll eat something, Marcia. It's going to be a long day.
I'm not hungry.
Oh, come on, forget it. Show must go on.
Forget it. Someone's threatening to kill me, for God's sake.
You're over-dramatising.
Am I? Preview of coming attraction. What do you suppose that means?
She's some nut. Gets his kicks out of scaring women in the public eye.
So you don't take it seriously?
No.
Well, I do.
Where are you going?
You can take your car. I'll see you at rehearsal.
I won't need petrol.
I want to talk to Bob Croft.
Oh, I don't know if he's in yet. Hang on a sec. Who shall I say wants him?
Tell him it's Helen
Helen?
Croft.
How many black coppers are there?
What?
How many black coppers are there?
What, in the whole country? About 400.
And black WPCs?
I don't know. Between 30 and 40.
Pathetic. No wonder it's a them and us situation.
Well, come on, Maggie. It's not for want of trying, is it? We've had recruiting drives, publicity campaigns, race relations seminars. Most of them just don't want to know.
Steve brought a black girl to see me last night from the youth club.
Suss you up. Hope you used all your feminine wiles.
It wasn't that easy. She has parental opposition.
It's the old story.
No, it's not that. Her father doesn't think we're good enough for her.
Oh, really?
Well, he could be right. She's obviously very intelligent.
Well, you may find it hard to believe, but intelligence has never actually disqualified anyone from joining the police force.
No, I mean, she's exceptional. Even for a white girl. Oh, no, forget I said that.
So, why's she doing the old Bill a favour?
I don't know. Whatever the reason, she obviously needs some support.
Which you intend to provide.
I think it might be worth following up. Her dad's on night shifts, so I promised to go round. I don't know, about lunchtime?
Morning. It's Miss Bancroft. What can I do for you?
Not a lot, darling. I want to talk to the senior officer.
Oh, what about?
There.
Yeah, I saw you on the box last night. Way you tore strips off that bent copper. Whoa, really turned me on, that. Good grief.
What were you doing outside my flat this morning?
What?
Why were you spying on me?
It's nothing to do with you. There's a garage down the street. It's a front for ringers.
Oh, come off it, Bob. If you don't tell me why you were there, I'll go and see your boss.
All right. I've been keeping Obbo on you all week.
Why?
Well, because you've been conning me, that's why.
Conning you?
You told the court you had no other means of support, but you have, haven't you?
Have I?
Well, look, this bloke you've shacked up with, Parkins, whatever his name is. Well, he's keeping you, isn't he? You're getting your bills paid twice over.
Rubbish. First of all, I'm not, as you so charmingly put it, shacked up with him.
Oh, no. Now, look, 5 mornings this week we've seen him coming out of your drum. Now, according to my brief, that constitutes cohabitation. And the court is liable to assume that he's contributing towards the rent.
Oh, Bob, how much longer are you going to carry on this vendetta?
Look, it's not a vendetta. I just want my rights.
And I want mine, which includes the right not to be harassed by my ex-husband.
Nobody is harassing you, Helen. But I just don't see why I should continue paying you a bloody fortune every week while that ponce of yours is never out of your bed. A dead cat?
Straight up, Gov. She asked for the senior officer.
Well, what does she expect me to do? Put out an APB?
Why don't you ask her? She's a bit tasty.
Well, a lady I'd most like to be prosecuted by. Yeah, all right, I'll be right down. Marcia Bancroft.
Ah.
Would you like to accompany me as a minder, Mike?
Why not?
Miss Bancroft.
Yeah?
I'm Chief Inspector Russell.
No.
This is Detective Inspector Forbes.
Oh, how do you do?
Now, I understand that someone has run over your cat.
Oh, it wasn't mine, Mr. Russell, but someone killed it all right, with malice aforethought.
How do you know that?
Because I know who did it.
Who?
My ex-husband.
Have you any proof of this?
No. But he was waiting for me when I got back from rehearsal yesterday. We had a blazing row.
Really? What about?
Oh, he wants me to take less maintenance now the series is a success. Bloody cheek, I could be out of work next year.
So, why do you think he would send you a dead cat?
Oh, to frighten me.
Do you take this as a personal threat?
Well, what else could it be?
Well, he could have been sent by anyone.
No, it was Brian.
A violent man, is he?
He's certainly capable of violence. You wouldn't think it to look at him, puffing at his pipe and bashing away at his typewriter, but he's got a terrible temper. He threw me across the room just before we broke up. He fractured my wrist.
Do you want to make a formal complaint?
Yes, what do you think I'm doing? Warn him off. Tell him if anything happens to me, you'll hold him responsible.
Right. Maggie.
Right, I'll have a word with him.
Oh, better take a fella with you, love, as a bodyguard.
No, that won't be necessary, Miss Bancroft. If your ex-husband should attempt to throw D.I. Forbes across the room, he'll be the one in need of a bodyguard.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
I'm Detective Inspector Forbes.
Good heavens.
This is Detective Sergeant Fenton. May we come in?
What is it? What's happened?
I'd rather discuss it inside.
Certainly, please, come in.
Thank you.
Go through.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that there were women detective inspectors.
Amazing, isn't it? Next thing you know, we'll have women prime ministers.
Please, there's no disrespect intended. I'm all for women's rights.
Even your ex-wives?
She what you've come about?
Yes.
You better sit down. Sorry, you'll have to excuse the mess. I'm in the middle of revising television script.
You write for Miss Bancroft's series, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Well, if you can call it writing. No, it's a load of old crap, really, but it pays the bills.
Oh, I don't think it's crap. I quite like it.
Really? Yes, well, I imagine that what you enjoy, Inspector, is the vision of a member of the fair sex running rings round the male establishment, and that's why the thing's so bloody high in the ratings.
You still see quite a lot of Miss Bancroft?
Well, yes, I can't avoid it at the moment, can I?
When was the last time you saw her?
Yesterday evening at her flat.
She asked you to go round?
No, it was nothing to do with the series. It was a personal matter.
What? I'm sorry, Mr. Spencer. You're going to have to be more specific.
Well, she's earning a fortune at the moment, and she doesn't need a penny from me. And I thought that I would try to persuade her to take less maintenance. She wouldn't wear that.
Is that why you sent her the dead cat?
I'm sorry, what?
After you left, a box was dumped on her front door. Inside was a dead cat with a note saying, "Preview of forthcoming attractions."
Is she accusing me of that?
Yes.
Well, yes, I think you'll have to take that with a large pinch of salt, Inspector. She's an actress. They thrive on publicity.
I think she'd kill somebody's cat as a publicity stunt.
Do you ever wear glasses, Sergeant?
Not for observation purposes, madam.
Answer the question, please. Do you ever, repeat, ever wear glasses?
For reading, yes.
Yet you still maintain there's nothing wrong with your sight.
I can see just as clear as you can, madam. When the defendant ran across the yard, he was not more than 20 feet away.
20 feet? So, with your perfect vision, you can no doubt tell the court what sort of weapon my client was carrying.
Well, I'm not an expert on firearms, but it looked like a Russian Kalashnikov assault rifle, what they call an AK-47.
You're not an expert? No, what is it?
For someone who isn't an expert.
For someone who isn't an expert in firearms, that's remarkably precise.
Well, I was right, wasn't I? It was a Kalashnikov.
You mean a Kalashnikov was found later near the scene of the crime? But I put it to you, Sergeant, that you never saw my client carrying it. In fact, you never saw him carrying a weapon of any description, did you? You concocted that particular piece of evidence after the rifle was found in order to strengthen an extremely flimsy case.
My lord, I really must protest at the hectoring tone my learned friend is using. It is not Sergeant Malcolm who is on trial here.
I agree, Mr. Nash. And in order to give her time to change her attitude, I propose at this point to adjourn for lunch.
Good. Much better, Paul, much better. Marcia, darling, this last speech, do you think you could shush it up just a little bit, give Mike something to react to?
He's got plenty to react to. I'm destroying his chief witness.
Yes, but darling, he's complaining because of your hectoring tone. I mean, if you don't hector, the whole scene goes out the window.
Darling, can't you read between the lines occasionally? He is not protesting because of my tone, but because his whole case is about to collapse. If I start screaming like a banshee, I'll lose sympathy.
Right. Okay, everybody, from the top. Sorry, can you time this one, please?
Very much, Mr. Hall. You didn't mind me coming in and staying in the middle of the day. Thank you.
This is my friend Wesley, Mrs.
Hello.
Forbes. I hope you don't mind him being here. He wanted to hear what you had to say.
Oh, another possible recruit?
That'll be the day.
I haven't seen Mrs. Forbes.
Thank you.
Can I get you anything? Cup of coffee? Something stronger,
No,
maybe?
thank you very much, Mr. Hall. I can't stay long. I've got to get back to the station.
Just drop by to give us a sales pitch, then.
I take it you're not buying, Wesley.
You take it right, lady.
Why not?
The police is for you whites ain't got nothing to do with us blacks.
Tell me, Mrs. Forbes, what's in it for Lewis?
Well, the same thing that was in it for me, I guess. Variety, or it's an introduction to life.
But you're white. Now, what chance has a black girl got of becoming a detective inspector?
You know the answer to that one, James. No chance at all. They'll just keep her at the bottom of the heap like any other job.
Now, look, I never said it was going to be a bed of roses. I mean, unfortunately, there is still prejudice about. Against women as well as blacks. But you're not going to get rid of prejudice by opting out. You can only do that by taking your full part in the community.
So that's why you want me? Because I'm black?
Well, we'd want anyone as intelligent as you are, Lois. But I've got to admit that being black is a bonus. Look, no society can call itself multiracial unless it has a multiracial police force.
Why don't you just come clean, Mrs. Forbes? You don't want no genuine multiracial police force. You just want token nigger window dressing, right?
We want as many black recruits as we can get, Wesley. And it's not just our prejudice that's stopping them coming forward. It's yours as well, you know.
And you know why? I got picked up 6 times last year, right? I'd be on the street with some of my friends, mind my own business, and a couple of your squad cars would scream up and take us in for questioning. Almost every one of my friends has got a record now, and not one of them committed a single crime. And you're surprised we don't cooperate.
Now, look, Wesley.
Look, you stay your side of the fence, right? We'll stay ours. That way we both know where we are.
Would you like some coffee?
Oh, thanks.
Bloody directors. None of them knows anything about acting.
They're getting younger, too, have you noticed? Like policemen.
Youth has its compensations.
Oh, I'm sure it has. Outside the rehearsal room?
Inside, too, sometimes. Keith's quite talented, really, if only leave the acting to the actors.
It's extraordinary. After all, you've been playing the part for 2 years.
3 long series.
If you don't...
Keith? Keith? Keith! I thought you were going to warn him off.
Warn who off?
Brian!
You think he put something in your flask?
Look, I told you, he came to see me last night. He must have slipped into the kitchen when I was out of the room.
Was he alone for long?
Long enough. I was in the bath when he arrived, so Keith let him in, then came to fetch me.
Keith?
That's me, Keith Bristow.
Do you mind telling me what you were doing there?
Oh, I spent a lot of time there, rehearsing.
I see. So you told Miss Bancroft that Mr. Spencer wanted to talk to her, then what did you do?
Went down the pub. I knew there was going to be fireworks, so I got the hell out of there.
That gave Brian the opportunity he was waiting for. You should have done as I suggested, Inspector. Put the fear of God into him.
He said that he didn't send you that cat.
Well, that's the way you solve your crimes, is it? Take the villain's word he had nothing to do with it.
He also said that you might have done it yourself as a publicity stunt.
What?
An unsubstantiated accusation, of course, but then so is yours.
You think I'd poison a fellow actor just to get my name in the papers?
You didn't drink the coffee yourself, did you?
This is outrageous. All right, if you won't take my word, take Keith's. Keith, did Brian have the opportunity to put something in my flask?
Yes, darling. So did I come to that.
So did you, Miss Bancroft.
So you refuse to believe someone's trying to kill me?
I can't afford not to believe it. I'll leave Sergeant Fenton here to keep an eye on you, and also have the contents of that flask analysed. You stay with her, Jimmy. Let's hope she's not wasting our time.
Tell me, Sergeant, how does a woman as stupid as that get to be a detective inspector?
Same way any woman works her way up, madam. Some stupid man gave her a promotion.
What's the matter with you, Lois? They're just going to use you, you know.
I wouldn't be working for them. I'd be working for us. And I think it's a job worth doing, an important job.
And suppose her brothers and sisters don't agree with you now. Suppose we think the only way to get a better deal is to stay outside their cosy little world, right? Until they let us in on our terms.
How many brothers and sisters are you speaking for, Wesley?
99%.
You sure?
No, maybe 99.5.
Well, there's one thing I'm sure of. I have to do what I think is right.
Well, you know what's going to happen, didn't you? You're going to go out there, right? You're going to nick a white guy, he's going to call you a black bitch. You nick a black guy, he's going to call you a white nigger. You'll be in the middle of no man's land.
That's where we all should be, not sniping at each other from behind barriers.
And what about your folks now? They could lose a lot of friends, you know. Maybe even make some enemies.
Yes?
I wanted to talk to Mr. Spencer.
I'm Mrs. Spencer. Can I help?
I'm Detective Inspector Forbes. I called this morning.
Oh, yes, he told me. Please, come in.
Thank you.
Brian's working, as you can hear. Fastest two-finger typist in the West.
He didn't tell me he'd married again.
Perhaps the subject didn't come up.
Yes, well, perhaps if you could tell him that I'm here.
He'll be out in a minute. He always finishes dead on 6:30. How about a coffee?
Fine, thanks. Quite a reversal of roles, then. You go out to work, he stays at home.
Mm-hmm. I'm a literary agent. I represent some of the highest-paid hacks in television.
Including your husband?
He's not a hack, he's a serious playwright. Or would be if he didn't have a financial millstone around his neck.
Miss Bancroft.
Right. How can he do any decent work when he has to pour money into that bottomless pit every week?
Tell me, why doesn't he go back to court and have the maintenance order varied due to the change in her circumstances?
He's already done that. But Marcia insists that the two boys go away to boarding school because of her career. If we ever have children, we'll be lucky to afford the school meals.
It sounds like rough justice.
It's not any kind of justice.
Your husband feels very angry about it?
Right. But if you think he'd kill a cat to
I'm
get
afraid
back...
it's a little more serious this time, Mrs. Spencer.
It's past past. Time he came up for air.
Oh, dear. Am I in trouble again?
Just a few more questions, Mr. Spencer. Now, you went to see Miss Bancroft last night.
Well, yes, that's right, yes.
Where was she when you arrived?
Well, I'm sorry, how do you mean, where was she? She was having a bath.
So it was some time before she appeared?
5 minutes?
During which time you were alone?
Yes.
And you could have gone into the kitchen, unobserved?
Now, look, what the hell's all this
Please,
about?
just answer the question.
Well, yes, all right, I could have gone into the kitchen, unobserved.
And did you? And did you put something in Miss Bancroft's flask?
Arsenic, do you mean?
Now, you tell me.
Why has something happened to her?
No, not to her. Someone else drank it, a fellow actor, a Mr. Redding.
Is he all right?
We don't know yet.
It's wonderful stuff, isn't it? Now, I really can't take this seriously, Inspector. I think that you'll find that Paul will recover.
Now, what exactly do you mean?
Marcia would never have used poison. Strong emetic would be equally
Are
effective.
you suggesting this was just another publicity stunt?
Yes, yes, I bloody well am. I'm sorry, but it's obvious, isn't it? I was alone in the flat with her. It's perfect. The perfect setup. Bitch never had the guts to take her own medicine.
Wesley, this is Steve Forbes.
Hi.
The inspector's kid.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I wondered how Mum got on with your dad. Was she able to swing it?
Dunno, but she certainly made an impression.
Good. Well, I hope it works out, Lois. If the old Bill don't get more black recruits, they're in trouble.
And what do you know, Sonny?
It stands to reason, doesn't it? I mean, if you stay on the outside, well, people are going to think you're against the law. So we've just got to get together.
Look, we ain't got to do nothing. Not till we get our rights.
Oh, what rights?
Social rights, economic rights, human rights. We're not going to support a system that don't support us. We're going to fight it.
OK. But look, can't you fight it from the inside? That's what Mum did.
Look, your mum's white honky boy. It's easy for her to make her way up. Just make herself available.
What do you mean?
Well, a good-looking chick, your mum, isn't she? This wiggler ass got to be an inspector.
Here, now, hang on a minute.
Oh! Wesley! Oh!
Look, he started it.
No, you did.
He shouldn't have stuck his big nose in, should he? Leave him alone, he's all right.
I'm going to see him home.
But we're going to go out.
Take someone else, you make me sick.
Bed.
That two shot. What the hell does Lindsay think he's doing?
We're in the studio tomorrow. Switch that bloody thing off.
He must have been pissed when he did his camera script. Look at it.
Keith?
Yeah, I heard you, honey, but I just want to watch the end of this.
I said bed.
Thank you very much.
Come on, then.
You do extract your pound of flesh, don't you?
You're a free agent, darling. You're perfectly entitled to walk out of here any time you choose.
Now, you could be a little more subtle about it, that's all.
About what?
By letting me know who's boss. I mean, you could pander to my male ego occasionally.
What about my female ego? It's not very flattering when you prefer television to me.
Sir, I don't prefer television to you. It's just... Well, you can learn a lot watching other directors work.
You'll learn much more by watching me, darling. You'll find it much more enjoyable, I promise you.
Hello? Hey, what's up? What's happened?
Oh, it's all right, Mum. It's just a bit of tummy trouble.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Forbes. It was Wesley.
Well, he came here?
No, I went to see Lois.
And?
We got into a bit of a barney. It was my fault, I suppose. I shouldn't have gone.
Well, what was it all about?
It was about you.
Me?
Wesley insulted you. That's what started it.
How intriguing. What did he say?
He said you got to be an inspector by wiggling your ass.
Oh, yeah. You went galloping in on your white charger, did you? You are sweet.
He meant it seriously.
No, he didn't. It wasn't your mother who was getting at Steve. It was the police.
Yeah, well, not exactly his flavour of the month, are we?
He's had a lot of aggravation, Mrs. Forbes. He's never broken the law, but the police do harass people like him. They pull them in because they're black.
I know, but come on now, you look at it from our point of view. Here we are, a mainly white police force. We're completely ignorant of black culture, black traditions, black psychology. It's going to take us time to learn.
Wesley would say you've had plenty of time. and now it's running out.
He's a murderer, for God's sake. How do you expect me to concentrate with a murderer looking at me from the gallery?
For Christ's sake, Marcia, nobody's been murdered.
I am not going on until you get him out of this studio.
But he's the writer.
Either he leaves or I do. Get this bloody wig off my head, Jenny.
What's all that about? Hugh doesn't want me around, huh?
No, I'm sorry, Brian.
No, it's okay, don't worry. Anyone in the producer's room?
No.
That's where I'll be if you need me. Loading my blowpipe with poison darts.
Made our lives a lot easier, wouldn't it, if she had drunk that coffee?
Caustic soda, a corrosive alkali.
Nasty.
Yes, very. It burns the mouth and the throat and causes swelling of the tissues. If he'd swallowed any more, he'd choke to death.
So, how is he?
Well, the hospital says he's going to be okay, but they're going to keep him in for observation, so he's lost the part. Another actor's taken over.
Well, at least he's still alive.
Well, that's no consolation, apparently. He hasn't worked for 6 months.
Poor bugger. So, what do you reckon? Someone trying to frighten Marcia Bancroft or kill her?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, 60 grains of caustic soda has been known to be fatal, and there was more than that in the flask. On the other hand, it's hardly likely that anyone would ever swallow more than a mouthful.
Doesn't sound as though he knew what he was doing.
No, but he could try again. Next time he could be luckier.
I want this one wrapped up a bit smartish. Can't go on giving around-the-clock protection forever. Russell. Yeah, it's for you. Fenton.
Right. Yes, Jimmy. Oh, is he? It's interesting. Tell you what, ask Miss Bancroft if you can borrow her keys, and I'll meet you at the flat in half an hour, okay? Right. Keith Bristow, Marcia's boyfriend.
What about him?
Apparently he's not quite as fond of her as she thinks. Bingo.
Suppose we do find his prints on it. Doesn't prove anything.
Look, proof he handled it.
We could have used it to unblock the sink.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. How many men do you know that use this stuff? I mean, if the sink needs unblocking, it's usually the women that do it.
Well?
I've been to see my lawyer.
And?
Well, it seems you were right. Cohabitation could affect my maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted you to know. I've given my fella his marching orders.
The money's more important to you, eh?
I'm not going to let you get away with it, Bob. If you want to play it strictly by the rules, fine. But you're not going to escape through that particular loophole.
You make me feel like a bastard.
No comment.
I don't want to break up your sex life, Helen, but if this bloke Perkins is...
Harkins.
Right. If you're going to have any sort of relationship with him, then he ought to pay for it.
How much do you think I should charge? 10 quid a trick? 20?
I didn't mean it like that.
Maybe not. That's how the law makes me feel.
Have you ever thought of getting married again?
No. I'm perfectly happy as I am.
I bet you are. A bloody cushy number you've found yourself, haven't you?
Don't worry. One of these days I'll find someone. Then I'll be off your back.
Oh, yeah. One of these days.
Have you found someone?
Fat chance.
Shouldn't be difficult. What you need is a fluffy blonde who's happy to divide her time between the kitchen and the bedroom.
Yeah, and all you need's a doormat. Someone will let you do what you bloody well want.
That's called freedom.
Well, if you wanted freedom, you shouldn't have got married.
Marriage isn't a prison, or it shouldn't be.
Look, running a home does not make you a prisoner.
It's your attitude, Bob. We both had jobs, but you never thought of helping around the house. You just sat around and let me get on with it.
Yeah, well, I had to get on with it when you weren't there, didn't I? And you weren't there half the time.
I was a copper when we met. You knew what you were letting yourself in for.
Jeez, it's bloody marvellous, isn't it, eh? When we were married, you never thought of resigning. Oh, no. Never occurred to you your job was coming between us. But the minute that we split up, you chucked it in.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Hello, Bob.
Yeah, Maggie Forbes, Helen, my ex-wife.
Oh, hello.
Well, do you want to join us? We're about in the middle of round 7.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude.
Oh, no, don't go. We could do with the rest of it.
I said all I had to say. I'm sorry, Maggie. I don't mean to be rude, but I've got to go.
Well, I'm sorry you won't be getting your bit of gnocchi tonight.
Oh, I shall be getting it all right. At his place.
Just reliving old nightmares. Do you want a drink?
Let me get you one.
Oh, look, sit down. I mean, can't a fella buy a bird a drink these days without making a great hassle about it?
Yes, miss.
We'd like to speak to Mrs. Inspector Forbes, please.
Anything I can do?
No, is she here?
I don't know. What name shall I say?
Lois.
Lois.
You know, you got it sewn up, haven't you, eh? You women?
You say so, Bob.
No, I heard some old bat on the telly the other night. Now, she's saying that what babies need their fathers just as much as they need their mothers, so they ought to take turns changing their nappies.
Well, you know, the odd bloke has been known to change the odd nappy without actually feeling his manhood was being threatened.
It's a load of cobblers. There is a biological difference.
Ah.
The point is, Maggie, I mean, you women, you want it both ways, don't you? I mean, yeah, you want to compete with the fellas on equal terms, right enough. But the minute it doesn't work out, off you run, screaming to your lawyers. It's always the man who pays.
Helen been giving you a hard time, has she?
Well, I tell you, she was shacked up with some bloke, right? So I reckon that you ought to start paying some of the bills. Do you know what she did when I suggested?
Kicked him out.
Anything to keep me skint. You're leeches, you are.
How with?
Yeah, she's been sucking me dry ever since the divorce. I mean, God knows how I'd manage if I ever got married again. Can hardly keep myself on one little at the end of the week.
Have to let your wife go out to work.
Well, suppose you didn't fancy her. Would you suppose she happened to want to stay at home and look after her old man? Now, do you think she'd appreciate having to schlep off after breakfast every morning just so that Helen can lie around all day contemplating her bloody navel? What's the matter? Typical.
Oh, hello, Lois. Look, I can't talk now, I'm afraid.
Please, it's important.
Well?
My grandfather's ill back in Jamaica. Dad's leaving tonight. He doesn't know when he'll be back.
So I wanted to see you again, Mrs. Forbes, just to sort out one or two things.
Look, I am sorry. I really am tied up at the moment.
Oh?
I've got an idea. Tell you what, come on. Come on, come with me.
She's got 6 O-levels, Mr. Russell. I don't want her to waste them.
They wouldn't necessarily be wasted on us, Mr. Hall.
A girl with her qualifications, she can afford to pick and choose.
Maybe she can. But the unemployment level's still rising among school leavers, even for kids with 6 O-levels.
Now, that's why I want her to go to university, get a degree.
She can do that in the police force.
She can.
All expenses paid. Now, Lois, you'd have to study a subject connected with your work. Got any ideas?
Sociology.
Sociology. Terrific. A sociology graduate in our corner, you'd be unique.
The thing that worries me, Mr. Russell, would Louis be accepted? I mean, really accepted as an equal?
She's got the same deal as anyone else.
From you, maybe. But what about the other coppers?
They're just ordinary blokes, Mr. Hall. If Lois can forget she's black, so can they.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you for your time, Mr. Russell.
Pleasure.
I'd like to wait for Inspector Forbes.
All right, but I have to go.
Look, tell you what, why don't I hand you over to a WPC? She can give you the woman's angle, yeah?
They have an angle?
Ever know a woman who didn't, Mr. Hall?
Kitchen.
Thank you, madam.
Oh, for heaven's sake, stop calling me madam. You make me feel 180.
Sorry.
What's your name, Sergeant?
Fenton.
I meant your Christian name.
James. No, Jimmy.
Found what you were looking for, did you, Jimmy?
Maybe.
The inscrutable copper. Hope you've got a key cut for yourself.
Hey?
You're going to need it, in case I get attacked in my bed and you have to come to my rescue.
No, that won't be me. Somebody else will take over for the night shift.
Couldn't you tell that lady inspector you don't want anyone else to take over?
Well, I've got to get some kit.
Keep on the sofa?
I don't think Mr. Bristow will fancy that.
It's my flat. If Mr. Bristow doesn't like it, he can sling his hook.
I don't think the inspector would be too crazy about the idea either, to tell you the truth. She'd probably send a WPC as a chaperone.
Oh, we need Keith then, don't we? But I often wake up in the middle of the night, you know, feeling hungry.
Detective Sergeant Fenton, to a telephone, please.
Fenton. Yeah, she's right here. Yeah. Yeah, right, hang on a minute. It's Inspector Forbes. She wants to know who cleans your flat.
Why?
Well, it seems to be important. Also, she'd like to talk to your solicitor.
You got a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Have you talked to him about joining?
Yes.
What does he reckon?
He says I've got 2 strikes against me. Being black and being a woman.
Wait till he sees you in uniform. It really turns some blokes on, you know. You wouldn't believe some of the offers I've had.
He thinks I'd just be propping up a rotten system, papering over the cracks.
Doesn't sound like he fancied uniforms.
No.
You prepared to lose him?
Maybe I already have.
Never mind. Some of our young lads aren't so bad. You'll get used to that. How about a cup of coffee?
Thanks.
My husband's not at home at the moment. He's at the studios. Do you mind if I come in and wait for him? No, of course not. Please do. Thank you.
Can I help you?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask Mr. Spencer to come down to the station with me.
Why?
To take his fingerprints.
Yep.
What?
Was someone attending to you?
I think so.
You don't seem very sure.
Well, I'm waiting to see someone.
Oh, well, will I do?
No, not really.
Oh, what a pity.
It's all right, sir. Young lady's waiting to see Inspector Forbes.
Oh, I see. We've been a naughty girl, have we?
Pardon?
Granted. Well, I was asking what you've been up to.
What makes you think I've been up to anything?
Well, look, if you're waiting to see our lady super sleuth, I naturally assumed
That
that
I'm a
you
miscreant.
Come again?
Skip it.
Well, suit yourself. She could be ours. What's with the Queen of Sheba?
Search me. Tasty, though.
Well, not bad.
Come on, where are you looking? Great legs and...
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Diary?
Done. And I've nearly finished the report on the Cross Keys break-in.
Good. Keep at it.
So, how was the missus?
Ex-missus.
Like that, is it?
Yep. Whoever it was who said paying off an ex-wife was like buying oats for a dead horse was obviously a divorced man. The bitch.
So she wouldn't see reason.
She's bloody impossible. I mean, like I've always said, women should be kept at home, chained to the stove, barefoot and pregnant. You take a tip from me. You get married, you go for a civilian, with her brains in her knickers, shares in a distillery.
There speaks a bitter man.
Correct. You see, I tell you, it's the uniform that does it to them. There's what, lady cops, traffic wardens, WBS, they're all the bloody same. You stick them in a uniform and, hey, presto, load of harpies. It's not natural. If I had my way, they'd all be demobbed. You all right?
Yes, thanks. You've been a great help. Can I leave Inspector Forbes a note?
Well, feel free. Help, you said?
Yes, I had to make my mind up about something.
Always happy to oblige. Sergeant, see the young lady has everything she needs.
Right, love. What'll it be?
Pen and paper.
Fingerprints?
The substance found in Miss Bancroft's flask was caustic soda. We found a tin of the stuff in her kitchen, so we're taking the fingerprints of anyone who was in the flat recently, purely for elimination purposes.
All right, well, come on. Let's get it over with.
But this is ridiculous. He never went anywhere near the kitchen.
How do you know that, Mrs. Spencer? Were you there?
Not inside, no. I was waiting in the car.
You went with your husband?
Yes.
Why?
I asked her to come with me. I needed some moral support.
But if you didn't go inside, Mrs. Spencer, how do you know that your husband didn't go into the kitchen?
Kitchen's on another floor. It's downstairs.
With a door leading to the garden?
Yes.
So your wife could have entered it unobserved by anyone else in the flat?
Yes, I suppose so, providing the door wasn't locked.
Was it, Mrs. Spencer?
How would I know? I didn't try it.
Well, perhaps we'd better take your prints, too, just to make sure.
Can't we leave my wife out of
No,
this?
I'm afraid not, Mrs. Spencer. You see, I was always quite sure that your prints would eliminate you, but I was interested to see your wife's reaction when I suggested you coming down to the station.
You don't really believe that
She had the motive. I wanted to see if she had the opportunity.
So it's not Brian you suspect. It's me.
Let's put it this way, Mrs. Spencer. I always intended to take your prints, too.
Don't worry, my love. It's nothing to be nervous about. It's just a matter of elimination.
Will they eliminate you, Mrs. Spencer?
No.
What? What are you saying?
It was me. I couldn't sit in the car not knowing what was happening. So I slipped in through the kitchen door to listen. I only wanted to hear what you were saying, but when that bitch called you a talentless hack who should be grateful for her charity...
Before you say any more, Mrs. Spencer, I must caution you.
I saw her flask on the draining board and this tin of caustic soda.
Oh, Pam, you didn't really mean to kill her.
I don't know. I think I just wanted to make her suffer the way she's made us suffer. On the way out, I saw a dead cat lying in the gutter. Someone had run over it. I can't think what came over me. I still can't believe I could have done a thing like that.
Please, don't say anything. Don't say any more.
All right, Mrs. Spencer, shall we go?
Can I come with her?
Yes, of course.
Right, I'll get your coat.
The court allows her to take 1/3 of our earnings. Did you know that?
Yes, I've spoken to her solicitor.
It's monstrous. Even the law's on her side. Surely you can see the injustice of it. As a woman.
I'm not here as a woman, Mrs. Spencer. Sandra. Where's Lois? The governor says she's waiting for me.
She's gone. She left you a note.
Dear Mrs. Forbes, sorry, but it's all been a mistake. Goodbye. What the hell happened?
I don't know. I went to get her a cup of coffee, and when I got back, she disappeared.
Were you here, Bob, when she left?
Who?
Lois, the black girl.
Yeah, we were both here.
Well, did she say anything?
Oh, not a lot. We didn't quite seem to hit it off.
What? You didn't scare her off, did you?
Scare her off?
Yeah, she was on the point of becoming a copper. Something seems to have happened to have made her change her mind.
Well, it's no good crying over spilt coffee. I mean, we're well out of it anyway, Ted, eh? Oh, white women. They're trouble enough. What?
My God. There's no need to castrate you. Helen saved me the trouble.